think all of us, we do things at the time that we think are the fucking baddest things in the world, or we think they're, the coolest things in the world. And they might be just meant for one person, like say, you're pining for a lover or something. And before, back then, you just write a letter about it to her, or you call her on the phone and you go hide in your closet and you're like, Mom, I'm on the phone. But now people are like tempted to put that shit on their blogs for the entire world to see, as though, they're trying to like get double duty on the single thing. So like, hey, maybe I can win this person's love, and at the same time, I can make everyone see what a poet I am or something. But I think that a lot of people, all of us, were totally like susceptible to making those sorts of bad judgment calls. But then it's just there. That shit's just hanging out there.
I was thinking about that recently, and this is really gonna. You're gonna have to stop me if I'm sounding too much like the grumpy old man, but when I was in middle school, this was pre-internet, and this was pre-email even, and so when in about 7th grade, I got my first sort of girlfriend, not really a girlfriend because. I don't even know how much we actually declared it out loud. Also, we were in separate cities. But the point of the story is, in fact, that we were long distance. So we started writing letters to each other. And these letters were so important to me, and they meant so much. And I spent so much time actually crafting the sentences of what I wrote. And the feeling of actually dropping that thing in the mail and knowing, I couldn't take it back, knowing that was permanent, was really, really scary. And on the opposite side, getting the letter back, which would now take, it would take over a week. You'd be talking like 3 days for it to get there, 3 days to come back with time for her to respond. All the tension and all the excitement of that interaction back and forth was something that I don't even know what kids today would have that was anything like that.
Well, it's kind of like when you've been out with someone the night before and you hooked up, and then like sent a text message the next morning, and you're sort of waiting, and it's like it takes 2 hours to get a response. You're like, oh my god, you're all in the
phone. Right.
Oh god, you would text someone the morning after? Oh my god, really?
You could actually Twitter it. You could Twitter during the date.
Oh my god.
This chick is a hose beast.
I'm sure people do that. I bet that's probably happened. Someone went on on a blind date or like a Match.com maneuver, and they're sitting there, and they're probably giving the world information that they're not giving their date.
But I think. Sorry, I'm just going to say the thing that Jeff's talking about that is gone is that sort of kind of human interaction where you actually stop to think about what you're putting out into the world before you put it out into the world. Like he's talking about, sitting there crafting this letter, this thing that he's going to send to someone, and really thinking about it. Whereas now I think people just tend to go online and verbally throw up over like anything they know.
Yeah,
it's really rewrite it. I'd crumple up the paper and start over.
Yeah, that's definitely gone.
I don't know. Come on, you don't do that with texts. You don't look at a text to your lady friend or a lady you'd like to be your lady friend and go like, yeah, I think I'm going to throw a semicolon in here instead. Like people don't do that still. I feel like I do. I feel like a tactically used semicolon is like that's almost as easy as boozing a chick to get into her pants. I'm just saying.
Chicks dig the semicolon. I will say that.
Yeah, you use it correctly.
It used to be too where like you're talking about the time lapse thing. You the letter's one thing. There's even like you'd call a girl, and she didn't answer or whatever. She had her brother or sister answer, and you don't hear back from them. And then you could wait days or something to get to hear back from someone. And I'm thinking it's probably a lot harder for girls now to let dudes down easily because they're getting like blasted on their like MySpace page. They're getting IMs. They're getting like texts, all this shit, and it's like. You can't just say like, "Oh, my brother never told me you called," or the sorts of things that they would pull back then.
This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing.
I'm going to put a little. Yeah.
But then you can go, Jeff.
Okay.
A friend of mine and I went and saw that movie that just came out, which is interesting considering all the ways to get in contact with people Sean just mentioned. We just saw He's Just Not That Indie like a month ago. And this is in this.
Whoa! Wait a minute! Isn't that like the Dr. Phil book or something? The Oprah?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I'm like, the girls in the cot, whatever, I'll go. And in it, you have these women in the movie are complaining about it from the opposite perspective, where they're saying like, well, now with all of these ways for people to get in touch, you have to obsess over each like different method. Like, oh well, if I text this time, then I email the next time. Well, then it gets confusing. Like, should you just be consistent? And so some of the stuff that you guys are talking about here actually like plugs in comically with that. And it is interesting thinking about the myriad ways people have to get in contact with people. And I think even more interesting when examining the relationships that, and I don't mean that like, you know, marriage, blah, blah, blah. I mean, even with people that you're dating, those of us who are still allowed to, the way that people communicate and the methods that they choose, I think actually becomes like this really interesting metagame of the whole process, and like trying to figure out why people behave the way they do, or why they use this form of media versus this form of media is actually like one of the little puzzles about people that's really interesting, I think.